All right, guys. I'm joined today on the show by Billy Goff, Bellator welterweight. How you doing today, man?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I was very impressed with your performance on Thursday. It's Monday now, so we're 4 days past. How you feeling after that victory?
I feel pretty great. I'm pretty happy. My weekend's been a lot of fun. Just a lot of smiling and enjoying my time.
Okay. So lives under a rock and wasn't watching Bellator last Thursday. You stopped Robson Gracie in the second round. Was it TKO or KO? I'm not sure what they called it.
It was a TKO.
TKO.
Yeah.
It was brutal. It was one of the most brutal knockouts I've seen in a long time. So let's just get into it. Was there any added pressure taking on a Gracie, knowing the long history their family has in the sport?
I think there's an opportunity for me to feel pressure for someone in that position when you're going up against somebody who has a big name like that, and you're such an underdog. Because I was a 450 underdog, and so that's definitely it. For some people, that can be a lot of pressure, but for me, I love it. I love the being an underdog. I love when everybody counts you out, because then I think it removes the pressure for me and puts it onto him. But I definitely can a lot of people do get pressure when they're taking on somebody that has a bigger name than them. But that for me adds more fun to it.
Yeah, I think it was kind of expected that he was going to win. Especially, I think he had an undefeated record coming in. Sorry, did you catch that?
I missed a little bit of it.
I think the expectation for Bellator was that he was going to win that. I think that's what they thought, because I think he also had an undefeated record coming into that.
Yes, he did. He was 3-0 with 3 submissions.
So
they were definitely. I was getting fed to the Sharks.
Dude, it wasn't even competitive. Like, you won almost every minute of the fight.
Yeah, I don't think he was really ready for the striking and the pressure that I was going to have, and the type of fight that it was going to be. It could have, because he's very good at jiu-jitsu, and his striking is not bad. He has good technical striking. I don't think it's on my level, but I believe he was expecting it to be a bit more. Definitely, he's very friendly, dude. He's very nice. And when I fight, it gets very gritty and grimy, and I don't think it can take people off guard. And I think it did. And I think he wasn't really ready for a fight like that.
So was that the game plan, just to try to make it like a close quarters, kind of like a brawl? What was the game plan? Talk me through that.
So the biggest thing was there wasn't so much of a game plan for the striking. I fight like that usually always, just because it makes people tired, and I've got great cardio, so I can keep that pressure on and make them tired, and then a lot more opens up. The biggest game plan going into this was addressing his jiu-jitsu, and I knew he was going to take me down, and I knew he was going to try to pull guard, and he was going to try to grab me. And everybody that he's fought always ran away from him. They pushed him away and tried to get away from him, which only opens him up for pulling guard. So his shots open up the pulling guard when someone tries to defend him like that. So I knew going in that whenever he tries to grab me, I have to push even closer and push into him, so that if he does try to pull guard, I can go down with control. And you could see that a couple times when he pulled guard, I went down and I had my hand on his thigh and on his hip, and I was comfortable going down. A lot of the times I didn't end up in a position to where I wanted to be. Like, he ended up with 2 butterflies, and I was like, all right, I'm not going to fight from here because I'm at a disadvantage right now. So I just got up.
Yeah. And like, to be that confident, getting that close to a guy who's going to pull guard, you have to be pretty confident in your takedown defense, though, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I grew up wrestling. I've been wrestling since I was 8 years old. So takedowns, and even if it's not so much because if you might have good wrestling and good takedown defense, but if you're worried about when you get to the ground, jiu-jitsu wise, then your takedown's going to be sporadic and you're going to try to overreact. My bad. Somebody was calling me. And so I'm comfortable on the ground. Obviously, I'm not jiu-jitsu. I never use a gi. I only do no gi, and everything for me is position, so I can hit people on the ground. So, but I'm very comfortable at defending submissions and taking control of the position. So being comfortable and confident down there helps me react calmly to the takedowns.
Gotcha. So talk me through how the elbows came about. Was it something you saw on the tape that he was vulnerable to elbow exchanges, or is it just kind of come naturally in the fight?
It comes naturally. I try to add elbows into every fight. It's something that people don't use enough of, and it's a fight finisher. And there's just so much power you can put into it. And especially with him, his style, when he tries to grab you and get closer to you, you're getting into elbow range. If he was someone because he's long and lanky, so he could stay out of range for me and make it a lot harder to elbow him, but he didn't. He wanted to take me down. So his style definitely helped me with my elbows, but elbows are in every fight for me.
So I saw in your Bellator post fight, you said that you've been prepping for this fight since January. Is that true?
Yeah. So we got offered this fight of January last year. I was coming off a loss and I wanted to get a fight, and I wasn't in the greatest mind frame. So luckily I didn't get one, but then we got offered it in January. And then I was just getting ready for it, and then they canceled it the day of, and then it got rescheduled 2 more times, but he had an injury that he had to pull out due to, and then eventually this time it finally happened, and we were able to make it happen. He didn't have an injury this time.
So how did your body feel on fight week, getting ready for a fight for almost a year? Did it feel different, or was the preparation good?
The preparation was great. I felt great. I was switched up my diet recently too, so I've been feeling really good. I feel stronger. I feel bigger, and the weight cut was easy. Everything going in was just smooth. Fortunately, I haven't had any major injuries. There's always dings, and when you're going hard for a long time, you're more likely to have more. But you just get lucky sometimes. I didn't have anything that was major, just things that hurt.
So being only 22 years of age and turning pro, I think you turned pro at 20, right?
Yes, sir.
So it's safe to say you're pretty young in the sport. Do you think you're learning on the job or as you're going, or what do you think?
Definitely. I have a lot more room to grow. I'm not done growing. I'm not at my peak by any means. I'm far from my peak. For athletically prime wise, I'm not even close to it. And just it's only going I've only been training striking for not even 4 years. And so I've made a lot of progress, and I've got great people in my gym who have helped me, and we're just constantly making each other better and going around traveling and training with other gyms. It helps, and you see different different perspectives, different styles, different techniques, and you just pull everything together. And I'm just getting better and better as time goes on. And I'm definitely learning, because every fight there's something, even on this fight, there's things I wasn't happy that I did. I was going to come out southpaw because I was expecting him to not be comfortable shooting on a single leg. But when I went to southpaw, I was too focused on being southpaw that I was letting my defense slack a little bit. I wasn't moving my head as much, and he hit me more, and my hands were down a little bit, and I wasn't happy with that. So that's something I've got to work on. But there's a lot of things that I was happy with, but there's always something that you can work on and move forward with. And I mean, if there's ever a fight where I'm I did everything perfect, that's not even necessarily, that's just fortunate. I was good enough to do that night, but there's got to be nights where you're not as good at something or you're not feeling good. So your technique's going to go down. So you've got to get as high as possible. So when it goes down a little bit, you're lower levels above everybody else still.
Right. That's a good way to look at it. What do you think in 2020, what part of your game improved the most?
So we got a new jiu-jitsu coach, and because a couple other gyms around us closed, and my coach, he was doing the jiu-jitsu for the longest time, but he didn't come from a traditional standpoint of jiu-jitsu. He grew up wrestling and striking, and he was learning jiu-jitsu as he started fighting, and he's really good at it. But everything for him was geared towards fighting. It was from a fighting frame of mind. Whereas my jiu-jitsu coach now, he came from jiu-jitsu. And he's had a couple fights, but his main thing is jiu-jitsu. So getting that different perspective for coaching, it definitely helps a lot. And my defense has gotten a lot better.
Okay. Yeah. I could definitely tell when you switch from southpaw, like you said, back to orthodox, your head movement was way better, and he wasn't hitting you with that lead hand, the straight right anymore. So your defense looked great, in my opinion.
Yeah, when I switched, because my coach, he was telling me to go righty. He was telling me to switch my stance as I punched, and I was. But I kept going back to southpaw, and then eventually he just told me to stay righty because he wanted me to stay righty. And then I think about halfway through the first round, and then all of the second, I stayed righty because it was just working better.
True. So mentally, is it a bit of a challenge having to fight always older fighters and potentially more experienced athletes?
I think it's hilarious. I fought a few guys who were balding, and I just think it's hilarious. And I've never fought anybody who's like old. Like nobody who's like on their way out. I don't think. Like I haven't fought anybody who's like 40, who's like really late in the game. And there's some people who are doing well at 40 and seem young and youthful, but most people don't last that long. Even like 32, 33, right around your 30s is when you can see their game to start to go if they've been in it for a while.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I think it brings some comfort knowing that I'm the younger guy, so I have youth and cardio more on my side. But no, it's never like that. When there's pressure on, there's extra chaos and there's more trouble. And I think it only makes me better and it fuels me. Like when things are easy, like when I got not so much easy, but when things are in my favor and I'm supposed to win, and I'm like everything's going really great. It's like it adds more nerves because there's nothing to fight off of to fight back.
So, in an ideal world, what does 2021 look like for Billy Goff?
I would like 3 or 4 fights.
3 or 4 fights. How soon would you like to get back in the cage?
I feel great right now. So, I believe there's a Bellator coming to Mohegan February. I'm not certain, and I'd like to be on that card.
Is there a specific opponent in mind, or just anybody?
There's a couple people that I've looked at that I would like to. I've got to see how they heal up, and it also depends on what Bellator wants. Because even though I'm 3-2, I'm coming off a win, so I've got some leverage. But that doesn't mean I can get anybody I want. And I've got to pick the right fight. So it's just a matter of talking to my coach and talking to Bellator and figuring it out. So there's nothing too set yet enough, or like a path set that I can talk about yet. But it's definitely somebody that's going to push me forward. Fair enough.
So what was it like going to work on Friday, the biggest win of your career?
Say that going to work the next day? Yeah, it was I wasn't the most productive. I was tired. But it was good. I felt good. My foot was a little swollen and my eye was hurting a little bit. But it wasn't bad at all. I've had it much worse, and a few people asked me, like we're talking about it. I had coworkers who watched. We've got a lot of social distance right now, so you don't see as many people that you normally would. But I felt good. I ordered when I was at work. You don't usually buy the food from the cafeteria because it's not as good for you. But now that I'm not cutting weight, I was like, yep, I'm gonna go get me a burger.
Good, man. Enjoy yourself. Well, I thank you for coming on the show. I just want to wish you Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, man.
Thank you. You as well.
And we'll have to have you back on at some point.
I would love to.
All right, man. Take care.
Have a great night.